It was 1968, and I was working with an improvisational theater group called The Committee, which was a satirical group from San Francisco. They had a production down here in LA. And Tommy Smothers came to see us. He was a big fan of The Committee, and he hired me because what we did not only as actors improvising, but we made up our own scenes, so we were writers as well. And he hired me and Carl Gottlieb, who was also a member of the company at the time, to work on a summer replacement show for the Smothers Brothers in 1968 called the Summer Brothers Smothers Show, hosted by Glenn Campbell. So we worked all summer, on the Glenn Campbell show, and then we were hired back for the fall of '68. Well, it was pretty wild. I mean, we're talking about, 1968. Everybody was high, and smoking dope and doing stuff like that. And we were all, up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, working. I mean, we all worked around the clock. I mean, there was always, Tommy was, really on the cutting edge of television. I mean, he was doing the most interesting things on television at the time. It was always very socially oriented and very politically biting, and we ran afoul of the censors more than once. I mean, a lot of times, and sketches would get thrown out, at the last minute. So we'd be up always late at night trying to come up with something to shoot the next day. But it was a great writing staff. I mean, I was partnered with Steve Martin. We were the 2 youngest guys on the staff, and like I said, Carl Gottlieb and Mason Williams and Lorenzo Music, who was named Jerry Music at the time, who played Carlton, your doorman, on I guess it was Mary Tyler Moore's show, and also does the Garfield, voice of Garfield, and Maury Roman and Bob Einstein. Bob Einstein, who's Super Dave now, he was on the staff. It was pretty funny stuff going on. Mainly because of Tommy. He assembled a great bunch of talent, and he also gave us the opportunity to do really good work. I mean, it was the best variety show on television at the time, and the best people gravitated towards it, wanted to work on it, and we were given a lot of freedom to write what we wanted to write. Yeah, we wrote together for a while. I mean, I kind of drifted around to different people in the office. We all kind of, overlapped each other and so on. But, I mean, we were kind of assigned together, I guess because we were the youngest. I had one great memory, which was Steve and I, we wrote this sketch, which was a satire of like a Hollywood premiere. We wrote all the characters. We had Army Archerd interviewing all the people coming in, and all the movie stars. And I think the movie was Renegade Nuns on Wheels or some damn thing like that. And we wrote the whole thing. And when we finished it, I remember we just had finished it, and it was one of those weeks where a sketch did get thrown out. It was like, it was late at night, and the censors 86 the sketch, and they said, "Oh boy, we got to find something for tomorrow. Does anybody have anything?" And Steve and I had just finished writing this thing. We said, "We've got something, listen." Well, and what we used to do is we used to act it out, the way we did it to test it with all the other writers sitting around. Alan Bly and Mason Williams were the head writers. We acted out the whole thing. We played all the parts, the 2 of us. Huge laughs. I mean, people were screaming. They were loving this thing. And at the end, Alan went, I don't know. I just don't think so. No. Thanks anyway. Okay, so we didn't get it in. Now a couple of weeks goes by, another sketch gets thrown out, and we said, well, we got to have some. Alan Bly says, wait a minute. There's that Hollywood premiere thing. That thing you guys wrote. Come on, let's hear that. That was pretty funny. Let's hear that. Steve and I carted out. We act the whole thing out. Big laughs. No, I don't think so. It's not quite. We did this like 3 or 4 times. I mean, Alan just wanted to hear us perform this bit. He had no intention of ever putting in the show. He just liked to see us, acting. So I remember that. I also remember Steve and I wrote the first fart joke ever on network television. We wrote a bit for Pat Paulson. he played the president of the Acme Novelty Company, and he was out there demonstrating all the different, there was the hot gum, the pucker gum, the dribble glass, the soap that makes your face black, all those dopey novelty gags. And at one point he sits down and you hear this like this, and he goes, "Oh, great, somebody slipped a whoopee cushion in," and he gets up and there's nothing there, and it was like, it was a great joke. I was a maniac. I mean, I was the wildest kind of radical lefty that you could possibly imagine, and Tommy, I feel badly because I used to always, rib Tommy, and I always used to get angry and scream and because I was always saying, you're selling out, you're not doing, and now I realize because I know what goes on to making it, what goes into making a television show and how difficult it is, and the pressures you get from censors and so on. It's remarkable what he was able to do. It was really cutting edge. I mean, to this day, you don't see anything as biting and as tough edged as that show was.